African Alliance. The bloc's founding members, Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, Egypt, and Mauritius, stated last year that digital markets had altered traditional markets, generating new challenges which needed regulatory coordination. The world is going digital, and that's the outlook amid regulation in Africa. South Africa is now in a state of disaster, according to South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, who made the declaration on Thursday due to the country's raging energy crisis. President Ramaphosa referred to the energy crisis on Thursday in the annual State of the Nation address as profound, adding that the seeds of it were planted many years ago. The power cuts or rolling blackouts by South Africa's state-run utility Eskom are daily and are reportedly
classified the energy crisis and its impact as a disaster. We are therefore, and its effect. We know that without a reliable supply of electricity, businesses cannot grow, assembly lines cannot run, crops cannot be irrigated, and basic services are interrupted. Therefore, as we outline our agenda for the year ahead, our most immediate task is to dramatically reduce the severity of load shedding in the coming months and ultimately to end.
That was the President of South Africa addressing the nation regarding the power situation in the country. State of disaster means an executive order or proclamation that activates the disaster response and recovery aspects of a state, local, and emergency operation in the countries or municipalities affected, just like South Africa. Let's be back to Nigeria. The Nigeria Customs Service has disclosed that it intercepted 450 drums of calcium carbide used for making explosives, 68 pieces of military camouflage, cannabis sativa, and others worth 517 million naira in January. The Customs Area Controller in charge of the Federal Operations Unit Zone A Ikeja, Hussein Ajibono, while addressing journalists at the unit, said that the explosives weighing 106 kilometers each were intercepted in Ijebode and Route Aba in Abia State. He also said the explosive have a duty-paid value of 24 million naira. Ajibono said, within the period under review, the sum of 86 million naira was recovered through the issuance of demand notices for underpaid customs duties. That's the outlook regarding customs and all the situations and the debacles around. Still in Nigeria. The federal government on Thursday commenced the deployment of security agencies to filling stations across the country to enforce the use of point-of-sale machines and the acceptance of bank transfers at the various outlets. Well, the story says that the government vowed to deal with all marketers who reject POS machines or bank transfers from customers, stressing that a move became vital following reports that some filling stations were culpable as regards this development, despite the severe cash crunch nationwide. Meanwhile, the oil marketers said that they were also hit by the cash crunch, as this had affected their operations in diverse ways, denying them the ability to restock in some instances. Well, this point will look at the global economy and what's happening around the world. Regarding the economic calendar, the key data releases for today, Friday, February 10th, 2023. We'll look at the key data release in the morning and expected data release or to be released in the afternoon and evening period. According to Friday's economic calendar, around 12:50 a.m., we had a production price index that came out early, but it was at 0% for Japan. Well, the key data was the inflation rate year on year highlighted, which came out around 2:30 a.m. in the morning. The actual came out at 2.1%, previously Inflation rate year-on-year in China was at 1.8%, showing more difficulty in the economy of China. The focus was at 2%. It surpassed even expectations at 2.1%. At 8 a.m., there were GDP growth rates outcome in Great Britain and the UK. GDP growth rates year-on-year according to preliminary estimates 8 a.m. in the morning. Let's find out what it was. The GDP growth rate was at that rate we've seen, but looking at further in the afternoon, it was 2:30 p.m. when the unemployment rate is expected to be out in Canada. Previously, the unemployment rate in Canada stood at 5%. The forecasts have indicated even further going upward to 5.2%, but by 2:30 we'll get to find out. Let's find out the outcome that will take place in the evening. 4 p.m. there's an expectation on data release regarding Michigan consumer sentiments preliminary estimate indications in the US. Previously, consumer sentiment was at 64.9% in the US, and the expectations would be what will come out around 4 p.m. today. That's the outlook regarding the economic calendar this morning. But let's see the state of the economy in the US. The US economy will sink into a recession and stocks will feel the squeeze, according to top economist Steve Hanke. The veteran economist sees inflation tumbling and the Fed cutting interest rates later this year. Hanks flagged the shrinking US money supply as a key reason why a recession lies ahead. Let's find out more from the economist Steve Hanke.
Stock market irrelevant, but it's kind of noise in the system. The signal is what is happening to the money supply, because the money supply changes eventually get transmitted first with a lag of about 1 to 9 months into changes in asset prices, changes in real estate prices, changes obviously in the stock market, and then with another lag of a little longer, about 6 to 18 months after those signal changes, after the money supply substantively changed, we get changes in real economic activity. So that gets into the recession issue that you just brought up. And then the last thing that comes with a lag of about a year or 2 years is inflation. We get changes in the price index.
Top economist Steve Hanke says there's bound to be recession this year. Talking about recession, we'll look at the Wall Street Journal report. The Wall Street Journal report says that no single indicator is used to determine a recession in the US. Rather, it's a group of people called the Business Cycle Dating Committee. Wall Street Journal explains how this group decides when the US has entered a recession and why knowing that date is so important. Let's find out.
A confusing place right now, and there's a lot of speculation around this one word.
The latest sign that we may be headed for a recession.
Are we actually in a recession?
I do not think the U.S. is currently in a recession.
So what actually determines when the U.S. enters a recession? It's not this, or this, or this. No one chart determines a recession. Rather, it's these 8 people, a group known as the Business Cycle Dating Committee. Here's how this group decides when the U.S. is in a recession, and why knowing that date is so important.
It matters if you're going to lose your job. It matters if your income is going down. It matters to business if they're going to be selling fewer cars or fewer televisions. So our entire economy is oriented towards producing more. And a recession is when everything goes wrong and we go in the other direction.
Knowing when a recession starts and ends is important because it can inform how we respond to these downturns later. This group of economists is selected by the NBER, or National Bureau of Economic Research. Each member on the committee is an expert in, well, business cycle dating. Business cycles are patterns of peaks or high points and troughs, low points in economic activity. That period between a peak and a trough is a recession. The NBER has been dating business cycles back to at least the 1920s, but formalized the committee in 1978. The committee is nonpartisan, and its makeup doesn't follow set guidelines. The number of people on it can vary, and some have been there since its inception. It's included people like former Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke.
Thank you.
What they try to do is seek balance and really even-handed data-only approach to just looking at the data and what.
So the Wall Street Journal is saying that this group of people, are the ones who determine if the U.S. is in recession. Well, away from that, let's look at the states in Africa. Tanzania's annual inflation rate edged up to 4.9% in January 2023, the highest in 5 years, from 4.8% in the prior month. Prices continued to climb mostly for food and non-alcoholic beverages and transportation in December. Additional upward pressure came from education services, restaurants and hotels, clothing and footwear, and furnishing and household equipment. On a monthly basis, consumer prices edged up by 0.7% after increasing by 0.8% in the previous month. It would be a good time to look at the charts indicating inflation in Tanzania, the cost of living in that country. The chart says, this morning, according to pictorial or historical viewpoints, as of April 2022, it was 3.8% in Tanzania, talking about inflation. But it went higher and higher in that trajectory from 2022 in July 2022 to 4.5%, and even further upward to 4.9% as of October 2022 and January 2023 at 4.9%. It's been going up and indicating some difficulties in the country, Tanzania. It would be a good time to look at what the commodities are saying amid a conversation of inflation and recession. We'll begin with the energy market commentary. Bob Isino will be standing by. But natural gas futures are 4% higher over the past 4 sessions in the market. Bob Isino will examine this.
In the energy quadrant, taking a look at the March natural gas futures contract, up 3 of the last 4 sessions, up almost 4% in that 4-session time period. As of today, natural gas is up about 0.8% on the week, but it's already given up an up 10% gain on this particular week. And if it finished higher, it would only be the first time in the last 9 weeks that natural gas ended the week with a higher price than it started. So it's important to put today's rally into context, especially given how much of the rally we gave up. We were up 5.55% on the highs today at 252.9, and then we ended up only finishing up less than 1%. On the downside, down 1.92%. That was 2.350, all of that versus yesterday's settlement of 2.396. Now, we got the EIA natural gas storage report today, and it printed a draw of 200.
Natural gas prices have been moving slightly upward by 4%, according to Bob Isino. But it would be a good time to look at the energy market to see what the prices of other commodities are in the energy market. Crude oil price have been pretty decent this morning, but just slightly upward, 2.12% for US crude, current price $79 per barrel. For Brent crude oil, which is Nigeria's price benchmark, it's $86 per barrel, upward by 1.7 points, a 2.02% appreciation. There's been slight advancement in the energy market for the crude commodities. But coal is downward this morning by a negative 3.33% depreciation, a 7.5 point depreciation, current price $218 per ton. The rest of the markets are little there, little there. Even Ural oil, Russia's oil, which has been a little here, little there, is slightly upward this morning at $56 per barrel. Let's look at the metal market this morning, what the outcome is in the metal market. The metal market has shown some positivity too for gold, current price $1,863 per ounce, 2.15 points increase, a 0.11% appreciation. For silver is the same story, $22.13 to 1 pound. 1 ounce rather, not pounds. Copper slightly downward, still downward by 18 points. Current price 4,021 Chinese yuan per ton. Iron ore slightly upward, but HRC still upward this morning by 6.6% appreciation. Let's look at the crypto market. What is happening with the cryptocurrency market? That's the outlook within the agricultural market and the metal market. The crypto market now. The whole of the cryptocurrency market entered correction territory on Thursday after a closed-door meeting at the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC). This resulted in the determination that the cryptocurrency exchange Kraken violated the law with its on-chain staking service, which the regulator determined to be an offering of unregistered securities. Applying this decision to all US-based exchanges is likely to result in billions of dollars worth of damages, and it is a clear signal that the government is adopting a heavy-handed approach to reining in the freewheeling asset class. Good time to look at the crypto market, what's happening with it amid all the debacles with the SEC, the crypto market. The price of Bitcoin this morning is $21,882 US dollar for one Bitcoin, downward by 20 points. Market is moving fast. It's 3 points now, but it's on a decline anyway. A negative 0.03. It's a little here, a little there this morning. On a weekly basis, it's been a huge decline for Bitcoin, 6.53 depreciation. Ether is quite positive this morning by 7-point appreciation, 1,548 US dollar, equaling 1 Ether. Binance has the same story. Cardano is down on a weekly basis, but no significant difference in the market this morning. That's the outlook in the cryptocurrency market. A little here, a little there. Let's see what's happening with the majors in the foreign exchange market, the euro against the US dollar and others, before we have a look at Naira's perspective in the market, the euro against the US dollar and other majors. While we're waiting for these markets, the outlook has been reasonably charging from market point of view. The euro against the US dollar has shown some decline for it. Market is still struggling within that same range. It's been trying to get past that 1.09 point mark, but it's not possible for it. The struggle continues. Major markets are ranging 1.07 US dollar equaling 1 euro, 1.21 US dollar equaling 1 pound. And it's the same story with the Aussie. Let's see what's happening with Naira in the market. Naira against US dollar and other majors. The perspective with Naira has been that of a ranging also 459.97 Naira equaling 1 US dollar at the international and exchange window. For the euro is 495 Naira equaling 1 euro. For the pound, 558 Naira equaling 1 pound. And it's still a struggle, but slight gains for some of the majors against the Naira. Let's see what's happening in the parallel market, the black market, regarding Naira. The performance have been within the range as it's happening at the international exchange window. We've seen the Naira at this level for a while now. If you're buying the Naira to the dollar, it's 756 Naira equaling $1 in the black market on the average, and an average of 752 Naira to $1 if you're selling it in the black market. For the pounds to the Naira, it's 940 Naira to 1 pound if you're buying it, and if you're selling it's 925 Naira to 1 pound. For the euro, it's 795 Naira to 1 euro if you're buying, and if you're selling, it's 779 Naira to 1 euro. And you see the spread within it. Canadian dollar also showing some indications against the Naira as well as the Rand. Good time to look at the stock market. The Asian market has been a little here, a little there, but let's look into the Nigerian stock market. The stock market cap was down by 36.57 billion Naira, as Fidelity Bank and other markets were on the decline. With 36.57 billion Naira loss during trading on Thursday, the market capitalization of the Nigerian stock market closed down at 29.6 trillion Naira. There was a negative 0.12% decline. The All-Share Index closed at 54,359.9 points after losing 67.15 basis points. Top gainers. Red Star Express led the gainers list with a 24 kobo rise in share price to move from 2 Naira 53 kobo to 2 Naira 77 kobo per share. A good look at the bottom losers. GlaxoSmith topped the losers table after shedding 54 kobo to drop from 6 Naira 95 kobo to 6 Naira 40 kobo per share. Universal Insurance led the day's trading with 71.8 million shares valued at 14.36 million Naira. That's the outlook of Business 360 today. My name is Bladon Kim. Thank you for watching.